Yay! Hooray! Hello and welcome. This is Friday Mechanic Q&A. If you would like, drop in, ask your questions. If not, you can always drop into the Discord, or you can watch Ruben sniff his fork, his ribs, and then seductively eat them in ways that are probably not allowed on YouTube or Twitter or anywhere. I don't think anybody should watch him eat. He gets a little too into the food. Lies, it's fake news. Yes, this is just car talk. If you want to discuss other things, that's different days at different places. Yeah. So what I've been dealing with is this door module on a CC and also a trunk switch on a Passat. Trunk switch, this little thing right here, this is the used one that it actually got warrantied by the dealer because it went bad already. And I tested it and confirmed that it went bad. Because you can get to pins. This is shocking, a shocking thing is that on this one, you can actually find the diagram for the switch. So I know which pins are supposed to do what when you push the switch. So I was able to test the pins and press the switch and nothing would happen. I said, we replaced this like a year ago. Why? It's broke. It's broke already. Because, I don't know, crappy plastic. I don't know why it broke, but it just don't connect no more. So this is going back to the dealer for them to warranty, which is nice. But that door module one just drive me nuts. Because it started off with battery drain, so figured out they had some fuses in the wrong spot. They'd replaced the fuse box. Customer did a bunch of work to it. And the trunk harness was bad. Replaced that, got the trunk to register being shut, and so it would shut the car down more. However, it would intermittently stay the high amperage state with the car off and the key out and locked and everything like that. And so the customer had a door latch to replace in it because he figured that was what was wrong, and that's also what I assumed too. So I got to the door latch, pulled it out, put the new one in, just plugged everything in, and worked the switches to make sure that it worked. It doesn't work. The door module that's in the right rear door communicates with the front door module, which is the front passenger door, and it's getting powers and grounds to the right rear, but it's not doing anything. It'll roll the window up and down, but it won't let the lock, and you can't even scan the right rear door module. So all I can do at this point is put a right rear door module in it and see if I can talk to it. I checked all the wires. Like I said, I checked for power and ground on it and got power and ground. So at this point, all I can assume is the module itself is Baroque. Because other than that, there's not a ton of other signals that come in or out. Let's see. Other than that, what other things have I done interesting this week? Let me just look at my schedule whilst we discuss. Oh, I should probably tell people about this. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Whoops. There we are. I like that picture. All right, to the schedule. Let's see, what did we work on yesterday? We did a turbo line. It was a turbo cooling line on a 2015 Audi A5. The cooling hose that supplies your turbocharger with coolant had split. and it was puking out all the coolant. The reason it split was because the upper timing cover gasket was leaking oil and leaking it onto that hose, and so it got it soft until eventually it gave up. So that wasn't terrible. It was not bad at all to do the job. Let's see. Then we had a 2016 Volkswagen Jetta SE, and this is something that I think is going to be turning into a pattern failure issue. I'm seeing a lot of these new 1.4 or I think it's just 1.4s. I haven't run into it on the bigger ones. You want me to wake you up in like 20 minutes? Okay. But these 1.4s with their evap purge valve and the tank vent system for the evaporative emission system, they have a corrugated line that goes, it comes out of, so you got the back passenger side of the engine, you got a little connector, it's quick connect, you can push in the tab and unplug it. Anyway, from there to the purge valve, it's just this corrugated line, and I've noticed, I've fixed 2 of them in the past month, and I've never really fixed those before. So what I have used is we've got this, I don't know if I have any around there, but we got this really big heat shrink, and it's got to fit over the end of that connector, which is a pain, because otherwise you can just put it right over. But I used the heat shrink to fix 2 of them now, and it's worked well, instead of having to replace the whole bloody line, because it's a solid one-piece made line under the intake, into the intake, and everything like that. And if you were to have to replace it, you have to pull the intake. Or you could use a bit of heat shrink and put it over the broken part of the pipe and shrink it down, and off you go. Might last a year, 2 years, 5 years, I don't know. We'll find out. But even then, I would probably be like, well, let's just stack on some more in the next broken spot. Because they're so dumb as to why they didn't use a rubber line, and that really irritates me. Is it rubber is too expensive and plastic is just right? I don't know. But anyway, I figured I should try my best to keep talking this particular episode and sharing these kind of things, so that way I can, make it public, and as long as people in my chat don't say dumb things all the time. Root beer. So, other than that, feel free to hit me up with a question if you have one. That was Thursday, Wednesday. I was off because it was my birthday. Happy birthday, me. Yay. I never showed up. Oh, I had a good one with a sunroof drain this week. On Tuesday, we had a car come in that had a wet floorboards in the driver's side. He said the passenger side, but it was like driver's side, quite obviously. The passenger side was dry. Anyway, I made a little short about it, but there was a ton of leaves and stuff packed into the cowling. So like right up there on that car would be similar spot. And I had to pull up the wiper blades, pull up the cowling and everything, clean it all out, because it was just packed full of leaves and debris. And it had been there for so long it had started turning into dirt. And yeah, so vacuumed it all out, made sure the 2 drains are clear. They're like little nipples coming out of the window, the A-pillars down, and they dumped the water, and off we went. Have I ever come across a Kia radio that blinks on and off randomly? No. What year? Or what generation, or what rough time period are we talking about? I can look it up real fast and see if there's anything particular that I need to find. Wow, and Identifix the radio is the third most searched one. Intermittently while driving, the radio will go blank. And if we turn the radio back on, the clock comes on and no radio function. Suddenly the radio starts working again. Then the vehicle does not have idle stop and go. Check for power at the 24-pin connector M45-B on the driver's side of the audio unit on pin 11. It's a green wire. From the accessory fuse, a 10-amp fuse in the instrument panel junction box. Check for power on pin 12, red wire from the module fuse. 15-amp fuse on the IP junction box beside the battery. Besides battery voltage, there should be enough power to light a bulb brightly here. Check for ground on pin 24. The black wire, you will need to check for power and ground when this issue happens. If there is a consistent power and ground, the audio unit may have failed. Tech found an aftermarket device in the car used for sub-amp, did not remove all of the hardware. Tech found fuse 15 blown and would keep blowing. Tech replaced radio fuse and checked all the wires, blah, blah, blah. Did not blow and the radio worked again. Tech installed a new radio and fuse. Doesn't seem to be, acts like a loose wire, so yeah, I would check your wiring back there. It seems like when you pull the radio out, there's going to be a driver's side connector. Did you catch all of that? If you are in our Discord, I can post this. Oop, not there. There. This is for I'd probably look into that first. I mean, here's what you would want to do then. If you can't find a blown fuse, is check that power going in and like wiggle the harness around while you're checking it, and hopefully you can get the pin to stay in there, or like, you know, make sure you can hold the pin in there. And see if it stops at some point. Like if you see the light start flickering, then maybe you've got a broke wire or poor connection, things like that. Those can be hard to diagnose, especially when they're intermittent. And they're intermittent for no apparent reason. Hello, someone. I swear, it seems like our shop just gets problem children. Like all these things are just little namby-pamby problems that are frustrating. Any of you guys work at a shop, how has your business been doing lately? We've been pretty busy. Been staying consistent at least. I think right now we're scheduled for what? Let's see, let's look at work week. Work week, not week. Oh yeah, we're pretty much booked up for next week mostly. We start winding down because Thanksgiving's coming, so so we'll start to like wind down a little bit on that. Basically next week in general, you know, try and finish up what we have here, make sure everything's gone. Anything that's staying, you know, it'll be here for Thanksgiving, and the customer knows that kind of stuff. And then anything we try to get out that day as best we can. But one of the biggest problems that I think we would have is just supplying. I don't even know if we might be scheduling for the week after. We have. I already have things on my schedule for the 28th. That's like 10 days away. I have a 2015 Subaru Outback 2.5 Limited coming in on the 28th that the lights go on and off when you hit bumps. Check engine light also. I see that, root beer. I don't know. That involves money. And I don't have any extra money. That's why I'm trying to do these Q&As, is to help raise more viewers, get more income from the YouTubes and stuff like that. And also, if you guys are enjoying this content, the shorts are definitely my bread and butter, so to speak. at least at this point, because I've been doing TikTok for a while before I started really hammering into the shorts here, but I don't really feel like continuing on TikTok. I would rather spend my efforts on YouTube. And yeah, I mean, it's possible, but finding an old Euro car is hard enough, much less the parts. And the place to put it. But yeah, so I'm probably, and I want your guys' feedback for this too, is I'm going to push more towards the shorts, because if there's something that I can be very consistent on where it comes to making content for the channel and stuff and for you guys, is that I have tons of content to make 1-minute clips out of every day. I can make 2, 3, 4 if I wanted to. I just don't want to spam people, so I'm trying to keep it to 2 a day. And so hopefully that'll help garner more activity, which it has already done a great job of doing that. Like, normally I get like 60 to 70 subs a month just from the previous stuff that I've done. Now I'm getting, as of this month, I've gotten 113. So it's helped. It's definitely helped. You might be able to fabricate something, find it, fix it. It just depends on how much those tools are. If those tools are really expensive, then yeah, screw it. Just like make something. But on a lot of the stock radios lately that I've been working on with Volkswagens and Audis, even some Chevys and some other things, I haven't had to use any kind of specialty tools. Usually it's just popping off trim panels and crap to get access to the screws. And usually there's like 3 or 4 different access point or panels you got to pop off. Turn off the heaters. So I'm trying to keep these little Q&A sessions short, so that way we can get content out there. And if somebody wants to come and watch these Q&As, then they can just be like, yeah, I'll spend 30 minutes, watch about what happened this week and what people have questions about. So at the moment, I'm just trying to fill the time with, since we don't have any questions this very minute, then I'll fill it with what I've done and what I've worked on this week. What are some other things I worked on this week? Sunroof drain, we already went over. That one's still irritating the crap out of me. I did a water pump earlier this week on a 2017. That's another problem that's seems to be becoming very apparent. It's already a problem on the older ones. If you own a 2009, whenever they first came out with the CCTAs, water pumps on those things are notorious for going bad. If you have a coolant leak in the front part of the engine, the front being facing the radiator or that side, it's going to be that water pump assembly. And those things fall apart because they're plastic and they just fall apart. I don't know, half of them is from oil intrusion, the other half they just break. And we have we get an aluminum water pump housing and assembly. It's a thermostat water pump assembly, because the water pump itself is just a little flat, spinny water pump, and it attaches to a little belt. But the whole thing it bolts to is the unit, as I'll describe it, and it's got 5 bolts holding it against the block. If you do that, then get the rest of it, because you'll be better off. If you just replace the water pump itself, you're probably not going to even fix the problem. But on the newer ones, 2017, 2018, I've been doing those lately too. Those are going to probably start becoming more of a pattern failure as they get older. What I've seen them break from isn't necessarily oil intrusion making the parts crack. It's more like, those are also known as thermal management systems. And the good part is they're not bad to do. If you're a mechanic and you do this for the reg, then you should be able to get it done in a few hours. The book time's like 6 hours or 7 hours or some crap. And I did the whole job and it was like 2 hours, and I was like, what the hell did I forget? Did I miss something? Did I just totally forget a different part or something? No, everything worked fine. But you pull off the throttle assembly, and the bracket, and you got most of it out of your way. I mean, you got to move a bunch of wires and hoses, but that's just unclip, unplug, and move around. My battery died a couple weeks ago, but gave zero indication it was going to, i.e. slow start. The alternator seems fine, putting out 14 volts. Well, it got cold. Yeah, you can go try and do a crank. I mean, you can take it to like AutoZone, or if you have a battery checker yourself, you can do a battery test on it. That's one of the reasons why we try to do battery tests on every oil change that we have, is because they might not show any indication of going bad, but they are. And so you'll do a battery test on it, and they'll say, oh, we got 200 cranking amps out of 500. Well, it starts okay. Yeah, it will for now, until it finally gives up the rest of the ghost. So if you are currently living in a colder environment, either A, get your battery checked, or 2, go to AutoZone and get them to run a battery check to make sure that it's going to last. Because when this temperature floors and you're getting in like the zeros and negatives, that's when batteries will keel over and die. I don't know of any good battery tenders because I live in the South and we don't really do that too often, unless it's like for a boat. So I don't have any good advice on that. However, I should probably get one so I could put it on my own cars, because I'm bad about driving my cars. And I tend to get to them and they're like, the battery's dead. Again. Yeah, you could put a big capacitor in place of a car battery, but I don't know if that's the best idea. I mean, it seems like it'd be interesting, but what I'm a little wondering about, and I haven't really looked into this, I wonder why they haven't really done much with the lithium ions in car batteries. Probably just too expensive, I would assume. Instead of a big lead acid battery. But again, I haven't looked into what the pros and cons of all that are, so it might just be that it's not great. You live in a warmer environment. Was it the cold? I mean, cooling can also affect it. We've had some ever starts. I mean, we don't put them. We use Interstates, so we prefer the Interstate battery brand, and they do all right. I don't have any complaints. I mean, if something goes bad, they'll replace it. It's got like a 3-year warranty on it. I've already warranted 2 batteries for one of my cars because one of them, honestly, they shouldn't have warranted it, but they did, thank God. And the second one I had it for like 3 months, and it didn't. It gave up the ghost. Well, the starting instantly every time with no lag is more than just the battery. It doesn't take the battery time to get electricity down to the starter to make it start. It's more of everything else that it's got to make sure is ready and running before it starts cranking over the motor, especially in these newer push-button, keyless type ignition systems. You press the button and you just sit there and hold it until the car starts, and some can be almost instant, some can be... there we go. Takes a second. What, lithium ions are heavier than lead acid batteries? I would assume that the lead acids would have to be overall heavier because they're not as compact. But maybe for that application, that's not the correct thing, and I have no idea. Could be right. There's a video, I think, from Project Farm. I don't remember if it was him or somebody else, but they did a who owns what batteries manufacturers. And a lot like Walmart and Interstate are made by the same brand, as far as I'm aware of. I might be wrong as to who owns who, but it was something to the effect of like Walmart batteries are the same, they make the same batteries that Interstate uses as well. However, that's also along the same lines of what you get with televisions and monitors and things like that. There's like 4 LCD manufacturers that exist. It's like LG, Sony, Samsung, and there's one other. I can't think of the name. But there are thousands of different LCD TVs and monitors and everything like that. So, of course, it depends on what the backup electronics are. Probably similar to a computer power supply in the sense of quality. Good quality, bad quality, stuff like that. And also for anybody wondering, I'm at lunch. I'm just using my lunch to do this Q&A time instead of, I already ate. Ruben's just, he likes to show me up by eating, taking a 2-second nap, and then getting back to work. What a punk. Walmart's generic synthetic oil is top notch. I wonder who makes it. Ruben, you got any idea who makes Walmart's synthetic generic oil?
Probably a refinery that picks up all the waste.
Oh, you mean it's like recycled oil? Might be.
Comes with coolant and oil.
Comes with coolant and oil in it. So that way when you do a blown head gasket analysis, you can find out that you have no idea. Why is it so milky? What are you going through my tools for? What kind of boat you need? Other than that, my other questions to you guys are, what other kind of automotive content would you like me to do more of here? And this is for the people that are live and the people that are watching it on the VOD. I can stream all day. I don't prefer to because that's very frustrating and annoying. But I can do it for a lot longer. And we could do some, special streams for, I'm doing a particular job. Let's go. Obviously, I won't be able to put the camera every time because it's attached with wires, and you get a general idea, but I'll try to be as specific as I can with the allotted time. Find one? But that's about it for me. In the sense of things I did this week that I found interesting. Other than that, it was just your normal oil changes, whatevers, water pumps. It's been kind of an odd week. And the thing that's really frustrating me is just some of these problematic cars that come in here that people keep throwing little bits of money at that they need to throw lots of money at. And so you keep band-aiding. Granted, this Passat with the switches isn't one of them. Granted, I need to check this part and make sure it looks right. Because in this one, what it is I've got this is a master window switch for that car. And what happens to these is, and you've probably experienced it if you've ever touched a car or been inside of a car, where these little switches these little tabs and stuff on the side, they'll break. And so these switches will come up. And so they'll either get stuck back or stuck down or stuck left, not stuck left or right, but they'll get stuck in one way or the other. And you can, manually click it back into place and it'll stop, but it's really annoying. So I need to replace this one for this guy because this one is much, much, much better. Well, kids playing with them, it wasn't on the driver's side in the front seat, and they're an elderly couple, so I doubt it, but maybe. These things just break. This isn't the first set of switches I put in. I even keep a set of older Passat ones that I pulled out of mine when I had a Passat. And I kept them in case I just needed one of the switches. So that way I could fix somebody's one broken switch with, pull this one off to put for there in a different car. Because, I mean, they're all the same switch. It's just a matter of how they come apart. Yeah, and some of these are $30, some of these are $300. It just depends on which one you have. And there's no telling as to which one it is. And that's the joyous part. But yeah, any questions left before I call it a stream? A nice 30-minute Q&A session in which I talked most of the time and answered a couple questions this time, so success. Oh, the battery testers? That one I don't know. I would say they do the legit load through onboard calculations. Like, it's probably got an amp monitor. And so when you clamp them on there and you do the battery tests, I don't know exactly how it works internally, but I would only assume based upon my knowledge of electricity that the cheap battery testers, or like the one we have an interstate battery tester, and it's big and clunky, but I don't think it doesn't have a carbon pile loading tool like our old Snap-on one does. We have a really, really old tool that's probably older than me. And yeah, our carbon pile tester back there, where you spin it up and see how much the voltage drops. So I would assume it has something to do with the calculations and how much amperage it puts out for various voltages. And it's probably doing it in not micro levels, but like milliamps. It's like, oh, it's got 12.3 volts and 5 milliamps, so that means it's got 500 cranking amps. I don't know. Oh yeah, ours is on wheels. Hey Viking, I'm doing well. Just about to wrap this one up for today. It's our Friday lunchtime discussion that started a little bit late. But the idea is I'm trying to front load these by keeping them short and announcing them early, so that way. Also, yeah, there won't be one next Friday because I won't be at work. And next Friday is Thanksgiving. Well, day after Thanksgiving. I will be off, enjoying family time, playing Fortnite. I don't know what you said, and I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at what my wife just messaged me. She's like, I also won the most stressful dream competition forever. I cooked Thanksgiving dinner, every step of it, then woke up. There was no food. Spending 8 hours cooking and dreaming about cooking and then waking up and realize you didn't do any of it. I said it's just so you could make sure it was making sure you could do it. You proved you are worthy. I've had those dreams before too. I have gotten up, gotten dressed, gotten to work, started working, and then woke up and been like, I don't want. It's you know what? I'm not coming into work today. Why? Because I already came in. Click. What? Question is, did you really come in? Was it really a dream, or is this the dream and that was your waking time? Now we're getting all existential, and eggs and pencils. So anyway, I would like to thank you all for joining me for this lovely 30-minute session-ish of questions and answers, and I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you have any more, feel free to hit the Discord. I will put the link into the description. And for our automotive Discord, not my regular community Discord, that's a different one. So yeah, that is all. that was it. Sorry, I was just reading some more what she said. So yeah, again, not one this Friday or this next Friday because holidays, but after that, back to normal until Christmas. I don't know, and if that even gets in the way. Speaking of which, when is Christmas this year? Is it on a Friday? Saturday? Move calendar. Oh, it's on a Sunday. So I don't know if we're going to take off that Friday or that Sunday. Anyway, that's too far away. We don't care. I care, but you guys don't care. So thank you all very much for watching. I appreciate it. And join me next week, 2 weeks from now, for another Q&A session. And if you have any questions, you can always come to the Discord that Root Beer has posted in the chat, and I will have in the description to go find us at any time and ask questions there. Have a great time. Bye now.